again, everyone. A very warm good evening to everyone. Welcome back to the fourth episode of this interview series that I'm doing called Journey to the Crown, where we will be interviewing the 30 state winners of Femina Miss India 2023, and we'll get to hear their stories from themselves. And rather than just waiting to see them perform on the big stage, I've decided let's get to know them a little better before we see them slaying the ramp. And this way, we get to hear their stories, be inspired by women who have achieved such heights. And there's always something to learn from, different people, because we have women who are dancers, who are athletes, who are beauty queens, who are models, and a lot more. I hope that you guys are enjoying this series and keep showering your love that you do on the guests that we are having. Thank you so much for sticking by. And now let's invite our next guest for today, who you already know is from Assam. Hi, Anushka. Good evening.
Hi, good evening. It's so lovely to see you. Thank
Same
you,
here.
by the way.
No problem. And a very happy belated birthday to Anushka.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank
How was
you.
it? How was it celebrating with all of the Miss India, co-contestants?
It was beautiful actually late at night. My roommate, she arranged everything, and most of the contestants they arrived at my room, and after that they wished me. And during the evening time, actually, the entire team and all the contestants helped me, cut the cake, they celebrated. It was a really beautiful moment because I was emotional. So my roommate, especially Miss Rajasthan, she really helped me, made me comfortable.
Oh wow, that's very sweet of her. And I mean, were you missing family home?
Yes, I was because obviously this is a new experience for me, and I'm here in Mumbai for the very first time. So I was missing my family and my close ones very much. So hence I was emotional.
Oh my God. But I can guarantee you, Anushka, that you've had the most amazing family around you. And
So
this sisterhood and this friendship is going to last for a lifetime. So, you have the most amazing set of sisters with you. So don't worry, I
yes,
think, and
very
yeah. And you were one of the lucky ones to celebrate your birthday alongside all of your Miss India sisters. Not everyone's birthdays falls in March and April.
yes, that is true. Indeed, I'm lucky
Yes.
that way.
Yes, look at the bright side. So, a very warm welcome once again, Anushka, and I would love to begin with your introduction before we go ahead. I have so many questions for you. For everyone watching, we have Anushka, who is Femina Miss India Assam 2023, and besides having an MA in literature, she's also a professional model and has won several pageant titles, which are winner of the DY Calendar Girl 2022, Assam Diva 2015, and I can go on and on. The list is quite long. And now Anushka is hungry for more. She's hungry for that mean crown of Miss India. So a very warm welcome, Anushka, to the series, and thank you for taking out your time. I know your schedule is extremely hectic, so I'm happy that you have this half an hour time to spare and talk about, your journey with me and the audience as well.
No, I'm grateful to you actually for inviting me today because I remember watching your videos in YouTube before the auditions, how to crack, give the perfect introduction. So it's really wonderful to see you, and I'm really grateful to you for inviting me today.
Oh
Thank
my
you.
God. I get so happy, every time someone tells me that they watched my video, I'm like, oh my God, that video is still trending. Yes, the
Yeah.
introduction video
And it
actually
was very
has, yeah,
helpful, by
it's
the
gone
way.
viral. Sorry, I didn't get you.
It was very helpful, honestly.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm glad it helped. So, Anushka, when I was reading about your life story, I was very intrigued. In fact, and I would love for you to share with our audience itself. Tell me a little bit about your childhood and, because you've been in pageants since the last 8 years. I want to know what was your upbringing and your childhood, your teen years like, and then what does it mean for you to be finally at the Miss India stage?
When I was a child, I guess I was always into more of studies, and I grew up with a family where, education is very vital. So my father especially he always pushed me so that I could get my education right. And through that journey, I did my classical singing. I was a dancer at the same time. and that is how I grew up. But ever since childhood, I remember watching the 1994 Miss India beauty pageant, and ever since I saw that, in my mind, I started visualizing and manifesting that someday, I want to wear that crown as well and become Miss India. So I never thought though that it would be something that I would go for, but it was in my head, that was for sure. Later on, during my teenage years, I think a lot of people started telling me that, why don't you try out for modeling? And at the age of 16, I remember finally I stepped into this world, into the field of beauty pageants, and I won my first crown. That was a Sativa 2015. And since then, I have held like multiple titles. And during those teenage years, I got that confidence in myself. And yes, and there was no stopping for me. And I realized that, yes, I definitely have that potential to go for Miss India as well. Of course, there was a little bit of those self-doubts inside of me as well. But I kept on going, and I had to face a lot of, I had to face body image issues, anorexia nervosa at the same time because of certain experiences in my life. But I did not give up, with that agility and determination. And because of beauty pageants in my life, actually, I kept on going ahead and I finally got that belief and confidence to go for Miss India at the same time.
Wow. So I would say like you're quite unstoppable when it comes to your path that you have paved up to this point. And I want to talk about your anorexia journey, and like for our viewers also, I feel like it's a very important topic, but I'll come to it in a little bit. Before that, I want to actually hear about, what is the earliest memory that you have from your initial days in pageantry? Do you have like a fun story or something that you really remember and that made you want to stick to pageantry for all these years?
Yes, actually, during my pageant life, it was never, always success. I had to also face failures in my life. Beginning with the very first pageant at the age of 16, I was so unprepared. I just gave my 10th boards and I was like, okay, let's just try, what's the harm in trying? And when I went for it, when I cracked it without any preparation, I was like, okay, I got some confidence. Later on, when I went for the second pageant, I remember I was so inexperienced, and that was a much greater one. And I was like, okay, now this is some real competition. I was qualified till top five there. I did not really win the pageant, but I gained a lot from the pageant. I remember crying a lot when I did not make it, but that was only because I was unprepared and I was lacking that experience inside of me. But I did not give up though. I kept on going and intaking, partaking more competitions, and I won a lot of them at the same time. And every time I got into a pageant, there was something new to learn at every point. So, yeah, actually, every journey of my beauty pageant has some story to it. Like every time I learn something new, I gain something new. So I cannot just say one funny stories or something in particular, but every time it was something new.
So the instance that you mentioned right now, was that your first failure in pageants?
Yes, that was my first failure in pageants. I just gave my class 12 boards. Basically, I had taken a gap for my boards. I took a gap from modeling. And when I again went ahead with this pageant in 2017, I remember, I just gave my 12 boards and I failed. I went to top five and I had to compete with so many Northeastern, all the seven sisters. And I qualified till top five. When I look back at that question answer, that YouTube video is still there by then. And when I look back at it and I realize that, okay, I really, really, I wish I could have given a better answer. And that is where my
Hmm.
lack of experience, I started to realize that, yes, I need to gain insights more. So, yes, that was my first failure.
Yeah, instead of, let's not call it a failure. We can, in fact, just call it one of those learning stepping stones to now the stage of Miss India. And I love that, you're very specific with, yes, I know probably it was Q&A because top five is in no way a failure at all. So yeah, let's call it
Yes.
that. And you mentioned that, you paused your modeling to then compete in this, from which I assume and like understood that, you've been modeling from a very young age. So while yes, you have been doing that, I feel like a lot of our viewers and young girls who have questions and have these aspirations also to come into this field, one of the major challenges in our country has been to deal with the family's opinions of it as, for it, modeling as a profession. Was it ever a challenge for you, or were they always encouraging you to be a model?
I have to say it was not an easy journey for me because I got all the support from my mother. However, my father, he has that mindset where he believes in education more than modeling, and he has a certain negative mindset towards modeling. And as a father, I can understand his obligations, and he's quite possessive towards me at the same time. So I had to face that when I started with modeling at a very tender, that is 16 years. He was not happy about it because my boards, I had just given my 10th boards and my 11th had started after that. So I had to take a pause then because he was completely against it. But then I also thought that no, at least let me devote myself to studies right now because education is also important and I need to get good grades so that I could get into a good college in life. So that's the reason why I actually took a pause. Also, I made a deal with my father that promised me to allow me that, after this, that you allow me for some pageant and I'll bring you some good grades. And that is the reason why I took the gap. And he actually kept the promise. However, even today, he's a little skeptical around the entire modeling industry, but I cannot blame him for that. I just wish to see him, happy, and I wish I could make him proud through this journey of mine. So yes, but my mother
Well,
has been very supportive. Yeah.
moms really are the sweetest. I feel like they can't not be a part of your life somehow. And I also share a very close bond, so I can relate to this.
Mm.
Although my father, he doesn't really have any issues with modeling as such, but yes, education has always been a priority, and that I think as you grow up and you grow older, you kind of understand that whatever concerns even parents usually have, it comes from the lack of awareness around what really is happening in
Correct.
this profession, because there's a lot of misconceptions around it as well. But
Yes.
I'm sure, like, giving results always works with parents. And as long as you've done both and you're living a balanced life, you're not letting this affect your studies, it should be completely fine. Even if it was not pageants, even if it was something else, again, you do need to not put all of your eggs in one basket and just make sure that if things go wrong, do you have the self-sufficiency, to support yourself? And I think that's where he comes from. I think now I want to, touch upon that very sensitive topic that you talked about, Anushka,
Yes.
that you, faced body shaming with respect to anorexia. Usually, when we hear about body shaming, our minds usually go in only one direction. Can you tell us a little bit more about what you went through, and in fact, even explain what anorexia really is to our viewers? Because I feel like there's a lack of awareness around it.
Yes. Yes, I will. So I'll tell you. So during the tender age, and this is something that I completely stand against, actually, that is child sexual abuse and harassment. And at a very tender age, I did get to experience this traumatizing, this trauma, And having faced it, actually, I started to feel that something is wrong with me, and I started to see myself in a negative light. And that's wherein my body image issues started. Even during my pageant times, during my teenage years, I actually increased a lot of weight because I was always seeing myself in a negative context. And somehow, actually, I got that confidence, that will inside of me that no, I have to overcome this. And I did that through my journey of beauty pageants, when I got to meet so many other people and got to hear about their stories, that's what made me, feel like, yes, I need to do something about this because this is an existential problem. It still exists and nobody really wants to speak about it. So I suffered because of it. When it comes to anorexia, let me all tell you guys that it is an eating disorder. There are different kinds of eating disorders. Anorexia is one of them, wherein you start seeing yourself in a very negative manner. Uh, you try to, like, you do not like to eat at all. You lessen down on your food intake, and you have very negative mental image regarding your body weight and the way you look. So that is exactly what happened to me. And it was difficult. I'm not going to say it was an easy journey, but I overcame it with agility and determination because in my head I knew that I had to go for Miss India, and there was a dream of mine that I needed to accomplish someday. So that dream kept on moving, and actually, beauty pageants helped me. All of these beauty pageants, they helped me because that built up my confidence more, that boosted me more and more day by day. That no, I need to be better. And that's the reason why I keep on every day, constantly push myself to be a better individual and how I can whatever I was, maybe at that point of time I was not being able to defend myself properly. But today I know that I'm stronger, I'm confident, and I can really defend myself out there. So that is the thing.
I love how you showed us that a dream that you have can also be a source of hope for people. Beauty pageants. When I heard this story right now, what I felt is, the dream of Miss India helped this young girl come out of a dark place because she wanted to win that crown. And that is the impact that beauty pageants have on, a whole generation, I could say. And that is the type of impact we actually want to create as well. When you talked about, I found this confidence within myself. There are a lot of young girls who are being body shamed right now at school, at college. What would be that message that you would give to them that would help them come out of that dark place?
I would like to say, please, your skin, whatever, feel confident in it. Nobody has the right to say anything to you, to be honest, because in my life, I think everybody has something to say about our weight. If we increase weight, people will say that, okay, you've grown fat, you've increased weight. And if we decrease weight, even then it's a problem because people will say, oh my God, you've decreased a lot of weight. So people will always have their judgments and their opinions. But in your head, you have to realize that no, you have to feel good in your own skin. You have to feel confident in your own skin. Let others say whatever they want to say. But in terms of you, always see yourself in a positive light because you are you and you are the most beautiful. God has made you for a reason. So that is something that I ask every one of you to keep it in your mind that please do not have any kind of negative things inside your mind. I know it's very easy for me to say it, but when one experiences it, it actually is very tough. But trust me, you are the most strongest out there, and there's nobody like you.
I am extremely inspired, through what you just said, Anushka. Those are really wise words. While body shaming is one of the challenges that young women do face in the country, another is, not seeing a path of what to do, where to go. And that mostly happens again when there are young girls and boys also who want to become a model. Since you've been modeling from a very young age and you are a professional model now, what advice would you give to the youth who aspires to be in a profession that you are right now? If you had to give them some really practical advice, like this is how you get started, and you also come from a background which focused on education, so it's not something like you had everything given to you on a platter.
Right.
What was that mantra you followed?
The mantra that I followed was actually listen to my heart, to be honest. But for you guys, I would like to say that always when you start your modeling career, and this is a practical advice that you must, that every model should have, that is a portfolio. That's a must. In order to get ahead in this journey, you must get a good portfolio done, a good photographer. And once you're done with that, you can go ahead either, in the beauty pageant line or just modeling like ramp walk modeling or film shoot or whatever it is that you aspire to do so. In case of beauty pageants, I think every day there are so many nowadays, there are so many YouTube channels and there is Instagram, there is social media. You can learn a lot about how the beauty queens have spoken, how they have been groomed, everything else. So I think for me, when I started, I really had no such source. I just, during my process of beauty pageants, whatever little bit of training that I was getting, that was what I was trying to inculcate in myself. So that is how I learned. But for you all, you guys have so many platforms right now. Try and learn and try to imbibe those qualities inside of yourself to be how to be a better individual every day and how you can ace beauty pageants or even in terms of uh, photo like ramp walks or print shoots, how to give those amazing expressions, those poses, and everything else. So I think you can start it that way. Just remember, don't hurt anybody else and don't just focus on one thing. Education is very important. So keep a balance of that. And without education, you cannot achieve anything. So always have that. But at the same time, go for your dreams because your dream should also not be crushed ever. So, because beauty lies in the unknown. So keep on exploring, right? That is what I believe in. That is my mantra, that beauty lies in the unknown. So we should never stop exploring in life.
Wow, those are some really wise words to leave us with. Thank you so much, Anushka. I had an absolutely wonderful time talking to you, and I can't wait to see what new achievements you have in the future. And I wish you all the very best for the rest of the competition as well. And I'm looking forward to your official photo shoots and a lot more stuff that is in store. But yeah, thank you so much for taking out your time, and I'm sure everyone has received some amazing, useful advice and also has been very inspired.
Thank you so much, Nikita, for having me today because you're just amazing. As I said, I even watched your
I know.
like videos on YouTube, which helped me a lot. And today, I really have to be grateful to you for inviting me on this journey to my crown. And really, I must say thanks to you. But before we leave, I think I'll have a small little question for you. So, I would like to know because you have done this, you have been there. So tell me, how does it feel to be on that stage, and how did you conquer it? How did you achieve your own achievement?
Hmm. This is the first time in one of the episodes that someone's put a question on me. But no, I'm really glad that you asked. I remember when I walked out on that Miss India stage, and what defined success for me was that I always used to have stage fear. And how Miss India, the journey changed me was that when I stepped out onto stage on awards night and on the finale, I remember that my knees did not shake, which always used to happen. Every single time I went onto stage before that, I remember my knees would knock against each other, and that stopped happening after Miss India. And so I think that's been my biggest takeaway. Whether I got the crown or not doesn't matter anymore because I overcame stage fear. And
True.
in that moment, I just reminded myself this is what the 16-year-old Nikita always wanted. And it was something, it was a very far away dream. It wasn't something that even I thought was possible. So the fact that that is happening, just walk onto that stage with a lot of gratitude in your heart because you attract the energy that you put out. So if you're
True.
gonna think that you have a lot of abundance in your life, that abundance is gonna come into your life in one form or the other, and sometimes it comes into your life in ways that you did not expect it to. So that's been my learning so far.
That is so sweet. I'll keep that in mind actually, whilst I go on the stage. I'll keep that in mind.
Yes, and I look forward to you absolutely slaying the ramp and your performance as well. All the very best. Thank you so much for
Thank you
coming.
so much. Hoping for the best, and thanks to everyone out there.
Thank you, audience, as well, for tuning in. And yeah, all right. Bye, Anushka.
Bye. Take care. Have a good night.
You too. Bye.